Hello everybody, welcome back to the United Stand. Good morning, lots of news coming in nice and early for you. It's me on this morning's show. I'm looking forward to it, but as the thumbnail says, right of, and that is what the news alludes to today. We're basically under a transfer ban. Ten Hag has been given, or is being given, next to nothing this January transfer window. Does that mean that top four is out the window? We know from last season that when we weren't given the respectable funds to strengthen, top four was out the window, wasn't it? From the get-go. And obviously we didn't qualify for the Champions League. So yeah, it's not looking bright. But then again, you do have the brilliant kind of winning streak that we are on. Obviously we got Charlton tonight, but let's get into the news. This is what a news show is. We talk about news, but we'll bring up the first tweet on screen from Laurie Whitwell. There is a determination within MUFC's recruitment department to act quicker and prepare better regarding their summer 2023 business. Now there is a clear plan from the man in the dugout. No, right. Well, look, we know we're broke. We know that we're broke, and it's not ideal, is it? It's a pretty poor situation to be in, and I want to go back actually to the tweet I was meant to read out. That's an error from me. I actually read the wrong tweet out. It's actually meant to be that MUFC are limited to looking at players they can borrow this month, and they do not want to be tied to permanent contracts for low-cost players, preferring to have a clear run at more desirable targets in the next summer window. Now we can get on to what I was going to say. We are broke. We know that. And this is why it's such a poor situation considering how good of a run we are actually on. I understand the side of this tweet in the sense that we don't want to be tied down to permanent contracts for low-cost players. We could touch on Weghorst a bit later as well. I do understand that because ultimately this 6-month period that we have from now till the end of the season or now till next summer window, we're not going to want to bring in players that we don't actually see being useful past that time, and we don't want them to be permanent because, well, we're not going to be able to sell them. You know, we've got enough deadwood at the club as it is, so we don't need more to then look at selling. That you know doesn't make sense. And obviously, one thing that I've kind of made or I want to make clear is if we're definitely not spending this window, it's looking clear that this Weghorst deal is probably going to go through again. We can touch on that a little bit later. But if we're not spending, we need to make sure that we're getting the targets we're after in the summer. 100%, it's non-negotiable, no excuses. If we're definitely not being given funds for whatever reason, whether it's because the owners don't want to put money in because they're selling, whether it's because we got no money to put in, I don't care. It's non-negotiable that in the summer, pretty much whoever we go after in a semi-realistic way or whoever Ten Hag wants, we need to go and do our due diligence and go out there and get them or make at least some effort and some preparation in going and getting that player. I don't want to hear anything about that. It is non-negotiable. I think, as I alluded to at the start of the show, we're basically on a transfer ban. We saw it last season, and what makes it worse this season is the fact that we have seen Ten Hag do so much in such a short amount of time. And in the grand scheme of things, not that many resources, right? Yes, we spent about 250 million in the summer, but it's only increased to that amount because the board are stupid enough and didn't want to pay up initial 40, 50 million for Anthony that then doubles in price to 80. There's just stupidity still within the club, and I do think it almost gets overlooked a little bit with obviously the trajectory that we are on. It is positive. Ten Hag is taking this club and this team places, so it is quite easy to overlook the overarching issue, and that is there are still idiots in the board. There are still idiots that run this club, and they need to go ASAP. That's pretty non-negotiable, as I said. But yeah, this transfer ban could this be a top 4 ruiner? We've obviously put ourselves in. I mean, look, there's a long way to go in the season. We're not even halfway through, I don't think. We've still got to play another 2 games, or is it 1 game till we're halfway through the season? And I think, we've put ourselves in a pretty good spot. We're joint third, I think, with a game in hand on Newcastle. Can we kick on now? You've got Chelsea strengthening. I think City don't really need to strengthen, do they? Let's be honest. Arsenal obviously looking to strengthen, and I'm sure Newcastle will be doing some business as well. So everyone around us is going to be strengthening their team, and we're the only ones sat here twiddling our thumbs, going after anything we can kind of get and any sort of resemblance as to something that Ten Hag does actually want in the team. The likes of Weghorst, we've been linked with Giroud. Basically, it's quite clear what he's after. He's after a big, tall striker and someone that will offer something very different to what Anthony Martial is going to offer. David Pimlock, welcome to the Members Club, my friend. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, everybody. But yeah, I think that the main thing is the fact like Ten Hag is, I wouldn't say struggling at the minute, because he's thriving in kind of the aspirations and expectations, especially from my end. I definitely didn't think that we'd be in such a positive position at this point in the league. And I think if we get to the end of the season and haven't got top four, it will be a very big disappointment. I think we've put ourselves in a very good position. Obviously, Chelsea and Liverpool are having a pretty poor season, but with not being able to strengthen in January and with the depleted squad that we do have in terms of, we've got one striker, Martial. We don't have a backup. If Martial does get injured, we're then looking at Rashford going up front. I know everybody's thoughts on that. It's not the greatest. Even the form that he is in, do we still trust him to lead that line? Obviously, all the goals he is scoring are predominantly off that left-hand side. We've got Sancho still to return. We're not quite sure what we're going to get back from him. And the drop-off is significant if Casemiro gets injured. Varane, Martinez, there is a considerable drop-off in terms of quality and ability when it comes to these players. So it's not ideal when you're being told that we have no money. And I mean, the money that we are going to be using is pennies in the grand scheme of things when it comes to buying players. But what can you do? Laurie Whitwell also says, as I read at the start by mistake, MUFC have given Ten Hag a leading voice on transfers because he is the person who has to pick the team each. Sorry, again, wrong tweet. I'm an idiot. That's my bad. It's very early. It's not early at all. There is a determination within MUFC's recruitment department to act quicker and prepare better regarding their summer 2023 business. Now there is a clear plan from the man in the dugout. Now this shows actually how poor the standards actually have been at Manchester United in terms of recruitment. We all know it's been pretty poor, but and what I gather from this is that Ten Hag has almost put a rocket up their backsides and told them that they need to step up their game when it comes to planning ahead for bringing players in terms of building scout reports, doing their due diligence on what's out there, what's on the market, and we need to act quicker when it comes to our targets. We need clear targets, probably 6 months, maybe even to a year. We need to be kind of looking at how players are developing and how we can go into the market and delve into the best options of signing these players. We all know that it's not quite as clear and simple as, yeah, here goes 50 million for that player. Teams work very differently. They might want to stagger fees over a certain amount of years, etc. We need to be up to date on this type of stuff. But we have been proven in the past that being slow in the transfer market gets you nowhere. So when we need, the determination comes from, we need the MUFC's recruitment department to act quicker. As I'm saying, it's not, I mean, we're slow when it comes to transfers anyway. The Anthony deal screams stupid, right? Regardless of whether you think Anthony is going to be a success, I personally do think he is. I don't think there's anything to worry about. He's played something like, 15 games for United, maybe even less than that. I'm not sure. He scored goals and he showed positive signs. A lot of people are just turning on him a little bit too soon, I think. But that will be down to mostly the price tag, I think, in all honesty. 80 million and I remember doing a show months ago where we were linked with him. I think it was around the 50 million mark, and it was increasing by the week, by the day. And I remember saying that, look, I wouldn't be surprised if we paying upwards of 80 to 100 million. And I didn't actually think that was going to happen. I thought we'd go in and get him for max 60, 70, but no, we paid the 80 odd million, which is ridiculous. But what can you do about it? What can you do? I mean, as I say, since we're not buying anyone in this January transfer window, we need to make sure that the targets we're wanting, and this is where the determination in recruitment needs to come in, because we need to be prepared for what is to come. You know, Chelsea have got stupid money to spend, right? Todd Boehly is spending money, and again, we'll touch on the João Felix stuff a little bit later, but Todd Boehly has almost silly money to spend. Whether Graham Potter lasts or not, it only seems that he's just going to spend and spend and spend and build this all-star dream team 11 to probably, or what he's hoping to do, challenge for every single trophy. But we know that doesn't always work, but Manchester United cannot be left behind, especially when you see the trajectory we're going on, you see the positive impact that Ten Hag has had. So we need to improve 100%. Another tweet from Laurie here, which I'm actually reading out in the right order. MUFC have given Ten Hag a leading voice on transfers because he is the person who has to pick the team each match day, and club executives have faith he will be in a position to do so for considerable time. Duh! This seems so obvious to me. Ten Hag should be the guy that, not alone, but he should be the guy. He's the one working with the players, you know, as it says, who has to pick the team each match day, right? So there's no point bringing in players that he doesn't want or he hasn't approved, because he's then not gonna want to use them in the team, right? He's not gonna have that same connection with them and want to train the team the way that he wants. You know, he wants players for a specific reason, and that is because he thinks that it fits the team, it fits the narrative, etc. You know, the likes of Eriksen being brought in, Casemiro, as much as a lot of people didn't think that Casemiro was a Ten Hag signing, I very much think it was, if you look at it now in hindsight. I think the reason that we were kind of never linked to Casemiro is probably because we never truly thought that how available he was, if he even was available. Obviously, the Frankie de Jong saga was going on for weeks, months, possibly going to happen again during next summer. I don't know, but when we knew that he became available, I believe Ten Hag was very, very interested in snapping him up, and thank the Lord that we did. But yeah, I mean, look. Ten Hag should be the main voice, as I say, in who we bring in, because he's the one training and picking the team, as the tweet says. The recruitment, in my opinion, should work with Ten Hag to build player profiles, scout reports. I think I've kind of already touched on this. But the one positive is, for me, is it's actually brilliant that some, and I'm going to emphasise that, some of the executives do see Ten Hag as a long-term manager at Manchester United. It means that they're seeing positive progress, they're happy with the change that has happened, and if all goes well, you know, then he will be at the club for a long time. I struggle to see, and I think this isn't really anything to do with Manchester United, it's just the way that football is going. I struggle to see the longevity from football managers the same as, you know, the likes of Wenger and Sir Alex and different managers like that. I struggle to see that now. I think the game has changed, and I know Klopp and Pep have been at Liverpool and City for a long time, but I feel like there's such pressure at football clubs now that as soon as a bad run of form does come into play and certain transfers don't work out and, you know, various other things do go wrong, that teams and clubs and the chairman, the owner, does just act a little bit too soon. But I mean, I hope I can eat my words on that Ten Hag does obviously stick around for a long time. I don't know what you consider a long time anymore, in all honesty, guys. Do we consider Ten Hag to be a 5-year manager, a 10-year manager? I find it hard. You know, I think the luxury point is between that 5 and 10 years. You know, managers not necessarily get bored, but there will come a point where they want a new challenge or something. Well, just change, really, won't they? They might have, especially if they've been successful at Manchester United. You know, Ten Hag could be this guy to bring back success to Manchester United, whether it's this season, next season, the season after. I'm not too sure, but the fact is that we're in a positive trajectory, and he needs to be given the resources to do so, and unfortunately we're not going to be given that this January, and it's such a shame to see. But yeah, as I say, some of the execs are happy with the improvement, which is good, and the reason I say some is because there is actually a tweet which I can find. Here we go, again from Laurie, which kind of contradicts and shows how stupid some of the board, some of the execs actually are. Again from Laurie Whitwell. There are also people close to MUFC who believe buying certain players specifically to meet Ten Hag's brief is a long-term risk, owing to the chances of another change in the dugout at some point. Now, this baffles me, in all honesty. It quite honestly baffles me. And I'm just reading some of the tweets from underneath. You know, a lot of people saying this is ridiculous, you know, change needs to happen, the board needs to go. And I completely agree with it. Whoever these people are that believe that buying players that Ten Hag wants won't be successful or is a risk, like, give your head a wobble. In all honesty, I don't get it. I don't understand. It makes and I actually sat here with producer Ryan when I was reading this tweet, and I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Like, I understand the premise of it, but I'm like, what angle, what point of view are these guys actually coming from? It's almost a little bit scary that these guys are so high up in our football club and they have certain says and on certain situations that happens in the club, and it's a worry. In all honesty, it is a worry. So I mean, what does that mean? I'm just reading off some notes that I quickly jotted down. Like, does this mean that, you know, and it has happened at clubs in the past, but does this mean that the recruitment are just going to go out and sign? Well, they're not the ones signing, but they're going to be the ones recommending the players to the board. We need to go and sign this for this reason. I mean, look, Ten Hag is the guy that works with these guys, and it goes back to the previous tweet. He's the one who works with these guys day in, day out. Pretty much every single day he is going to be training them. He knows their best attributes, their worst attributes. He knows how to get the best out of them. I think that's pretty clear from the progress that we have seen, how even players that we were writing off last season, your McTominays, your Freds, yes, they're never going to be world beaters, but he has got a tune out of them, and he's got the basics down to a T. He's got Rashford scoring goals. He's in the form of his life. Like, if you can't see that this guy is putting positive change into Manchester United, whether it's bringing in the new signings that he has brought in, Casemiro, Martinez, like every single signing has been a success. And I know a lot of people are going to pull that back to Anthony, but I don't think there's any question about whether he is going to be a success or not. I think just the fact that the ones that have been brought in so far have been a success so early, that because Anthony hasn't scored 20 goals yet, and yes, he might give the ball away. We've got to remember this guy's 21 years old, and he has got a lot of learning to do. But I've no doubt that he is going to be a positive influence and impact on Manchester United in the future. I think that's pretty clear. But I mean, this is why I think it should be. And I'm not saying Ten Hag should be the only one working on which type of players we need to sign. I think that would also be stupid as well. This needs to be a collaborative thing, that the recruitment and Ten Hag come together. They work together on which players we need to sign, which players are best suited for this Manchester United team. Because what Ten Hag can go, he might go, like for instance now, he might go to the recruitment and go, there's 10 players that I'm looking at signing. Kane, Sesko, not all of them, but he's given a list of players all the way in different positions, and what the recruitment need to do is go out there and, as I say, build the profiles. A lot will be easier. It's easier to build a player profile on Kane than it is of Sesko, because we know a lot more about Kane. He's been in the game a lot longer rather than Sesko. Different league, a little bit difficult, more difficult, I should say. But that's what the recruitment need to do, and I'm sure that, well, I want to say that they are doing that with the likes of the signings that we've seen brought in, which is, I mean, look, and I did say this earlier, that it has worked in other teams, and one of those teams is Liverpool. I believe that when Klopp came in to Liverpool, he wanted, I don't know the players, but he wanted X, Y, Z, and the recruitment team actually turned around and was like, no, we don't believe those guys will be a best fit for your system, etc., etc. And the recruitment team were the ones that brought in Mane, Salah, etc. And we all know how successful Liverpool have been, kind of taken away this season. The rise has been astronomical, right? But this can't apply to every team. United have a different recruitment team. Is our recruitment team even up to scratch of the likes, in comparison of the likes of Liverpool? I think it's pretty clear that it's not, just considering the signings that we have made. If you take away this season, and how much money we're spending, the likes of Maguire, Fred, can be probably successful squad players. But, there's 130 million, I think, there of players that aren't going to be used and possibly sold on and will make nowhere near even 100 million. You're probably lucky to get half of that 130 million out of them two players, in all honesty. So, and this goes again for the recruitment team. The only player I can actually remember that Manchester United ever made a profit out of is Daniel James, right? And that's a shock to itself. I mean, you guys can possibly correct me in the comments, and I'll go through and read the super chats out that I have missed in a second. But yeah, Daniel James is the only one that, off the top of my head, that I can actually think of in terms of a player that we've ever profited from, right? But I don't know. You can let me know your guys' thoughts in terms of, I think it's pretty clear that I don't see a long-term risk. I don't see a change in the dugout at some point. What does it even mean, some point? Well, of course there's going to be a change in the dugout at some point. Have a day off. It's ridiculous. It's silly. It is silly. Glenny Boy with the super chat. Why would people close to the club be worried about the possible change in the dugout? If you get the manager what he wants, it reduces that chance. Glenn, I mean, to be fair to you, I obviously understand where you're coming from. If you get the manager what he wants, it reduces that chance. Yes, it does reduce that chance, but I do think the angle they're saying is the signings that Ten Hag wants, the board don't think are Manchester United signings and ones that are going to be successful. But I trust in what Ten Hag wants. So I think everyone else should as well. Member for 29 months, Stephanie Glazer's out as always. And Zane, this is. I wondered when you were going to be popping up. Who needs Felix when we have Eddie and Ketia? Never mind Rashford. It's all about Eddie after 2 goals last night. Well, Zane, let's remember it was Oxford, but I'm not going to speak too badly. Well done. You got the win against Oxford. We're going to go and beat Charlton tonight, and whoever plays, whether it's Garnacho, Alanga, they're going to get a brace. Watch this space. But I mean, to kind of round this point off and to allude back to the thumbnail, is this season now considered a write-off? Because, as I said, if we don't go and get top 4, right, are the board going to look down on Ten Hag because of the position we're in now? But if we don't get top 4, probably 70% of the reason is because of our squad, and we haven't been given the means to go out and improve that squad to then challenge for top 4 or Carabao Cup or FA Cup or Europa League, etc. So there's different ways of looking at it, and in my view, I think that you can quite clearly see that Ten Hag has been successful in many ways, bringing the squad together more, making them more united. The leadership that he's brought in the likes of Casemiro, and what he's got out of Varane, and it's quite clear you can see the improvements. So just give him the extra of what he needs in order to succeed. It is what I'm saying, in all honesty, and I think that Zane does mention about Felix there, and it's a good segue actually that we can put a Fabrizio Romano tweet. Obviously, you guys would have seen the news that Chelsea are now expected to close in on João Felix deal within the next 24 to 48 hours, as final details on the agreement with Atletico Madrid are being finalised. All parties are ready to prepare documents to get it signed. Full package around €11 million, salary covered by Chelsea. Now this, again, is ridiculous. I don't get it. I don't get it. And a lot of people are kind of digging João Felix out for this and saying, you know, why would he go to Chelsea? Why, you know, they're 10th, they're crap, all this. You know, yes, they're 10th. They're not having the greatest of seasons, but I genuinely think that João Felix just wants out of Atletico Madrid, really does. So the fact that they're not actually, you know, there's no buy obligation. There's not even an option, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that he goes, you know, when the season's done, he goes straight back to Atletico Madrid. It does this, you know, 11 million. I don't even think 11 million pounds or euros, whatever it is, regardless, and full salary covered. You know, that's going to be a hefty wage as well. They're paying a ridiculous amount of money for a player that, and I think I saw Mark say this as well, that it's quite clear that they're probably not going to go and get him in the summer either. Even if they're, you know, there's no obligation, as I say, but they could still obviously inquire and try and go and get him. But they've got Nkunku to come in. People forget about that. They've got Nkunku, who literally plays in his position, to come in. They're obviously making signings left, right, and centre. But you know, spending this money with no obligation, unless it is something that guarantees you top four, I don't know. I believe that João Felix will be a success, regardless of kind of where he goes. Obviously, it's looking like Chelsea now, but whether it was United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, whoever, I do believe that he will be a success in the right system. And if you saw the little scout report that I did, he's almost a gem waiting to be almost reborn and refound again. Obviously, Atletico Madrid paid a significant fee for him, upwards of 100 million, over 100 million, I think it was, obviously paying Benfica. So, I mean, look, it's you guys. Felix is not that good. Nah, he is good. He is very good. I think he's just not being utilised in the right system. Diego Simeone is obviously known for his defensive minded team, and I think, you know, they lost to Barcelona 1-0, and the goal is shocking. The defending is absolutely shocking. They're just letting Barcelona just attack them pretty much, just wave after wave, and They just go and score. They just run through one pass and they score, and you know, Dembele scores. So it just doesn't make sense. I don't think that Manchester United were ever truly going to go and get João Felix in January. You know, there was marks that, you know, we needed to pay, obviously similar to what this package was going to be, and then it was the 70 million or something like that, obligation to buy or option to buy. But I just don't think. I think again, this would be a summer option if we were really wanting him. And I know he's quite a big fan favourite with, you know, you guys and myself as well, and Beth especially. Look, loads of people really do like João Felix. He scored a brilliant header against us in the Champions League last season. I think it was in the away leg. I'm not too sure. Can't remember. Doesn't matter. But I think he will be a success at Chelsea, but at this moment in time, a win is success at Chelsea, to be fair. So bringing in João Felix must be like winning the lottery. But Todd Boehly seems to have more money than sense, in all honesty. But I mean, look, this might be, maybe this Weghorst route that we've seemed to have almost fallen down, maybe that's because we knew that we weren't going to go out. Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's because we knew that we weren't going to go out there and get João Felix. We didn't have the money available, and we weren't, even if we did, we weren't making the money available to go out there and get him. Again, maybe this relates to almost the recruitment wanting to go against Ten Hag in terms of player selection and what they think they can get out of him. I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I was a fly on the wall in certain meetings. I'm sure a lot of you guys are as well. But yeah, it's a shame to see, in all honesty. I mean, look, people are saying Man United fans are jealous of Chelsea getting João Felix. Of course I'm jealous. João Felix is a quality player. Of course, you know, I'm not bitter. Like, I don't care that much. It's not the end of the world. It's more I care about the situation of Manchester United, you know, and bringing in João Felix would improve the situation at Manchester United. You know, I think it was pretty clear that he's going to leave Atletico Madrid in the summer as well. I'd be very surprised unless somehow Diego Simeone does leave the club, which I doubt would happen because he's almost held as a godlike figure out there. But I'd be very surprised if he does this loan and then goes back and it's all hunky-dory and he starts playing absolutely perfect for Atletico again. I think this is maybe more of an opportunity. Chelsea have looked at it and thought they can go out there, get a very good player. Yes, it's a loan fee. They don't have an obligation to buy, but it's a player to bring in. They've got a lot of injuries. They need more attacking options. They haven't really got a striker that's being utilised well. Aubameyang got subbed on and then subbed back off, which is disgraceful, by the way. It's justified, of course. He was playing awfully, but that's almost a career ender, especially at 33, whatever Aubameyang is. And people wanted him at United. People wanted Aubameyang at United. But we can move on to what our striker options might possibly be in the summer. And this is coming in from Mark Ogden, saying MUFC's real objective in their attempt to end a 6-year search for a centre-forward is to bridge a gap until the summer when their priority targets will include Victor Osimhen, Benjamin Sesko, and if he opts against signing a new contract at Spurs, Harry Kane. Now, this tweet gets me excited. I can't lie, it does get me a little bit excited. It's pretty clear that this 6-month period, if we end up with Weghorst, it is a bridge. It is bridging the gap. It is what a lot of fans have said we shouldn't do, but it's what we're going to have to do, right? We need numbers, especially up front, and at least Weghorst offers something very different in attack to what we already have. And I do believe that he won't be as how he performs at Manchester United, and he's not an attractive name, is he? He's not your João Felix, he's not your Osimhen, etc. But we have to be realistic, and we are dealing with peanuts when it comes to money at this point in time. So I think, look, we just need to, if we are going to get Weghorst, it does need to be, however it's dealt with, whatever the money is, it needs to be for that 6 months, and there's nothing, what's the word? Strings attached afterwards. There you go. There's no strings attached afterwards. He goes wherever he goes on his jolly holidays, and we bring in that number 9. Whether it is Victor Osimhen, Sesko, Harry Kane. Let me know your guys' preference in the comments, obviously. Look, personally, I think Harry Kane is very, very attractive. Not like that. No. I think the way that he plays football is attractive. The things that he brings to the pitch is unbelievable. He is someone that, he's guaranteed to score you goals. He's Premier League proven. He's unbelievable, right? And we can delve in to a little bit of a statistical battle with Kane, Sesko and Osimhen, with kind of their attacking output from this current season. Now, I actually think that Harry Kane, I don't know if you can go as far as saying he's underrated, but I actually think this season he is going under the radar. Obviously, Erling Haaland is blowing kind of everyone out the water in terms of goal scoring, but this is Harry Kane's best start to a season goal scoring wise ever, I'm pretty sure. He in all competitions, I think this is including international appearances as well, Harry Kane has scored 20 goals this season in 33 matches, so he's averaging 0.57 goals a game. I don't really think I need to delve too much into what Harry Kane can offer at Manchester United. I think it is pretty obvious. He will guarantee you goals. He will, I honestly think, bring the best out in other players as well, the likes of Antony, the likes of Rashford. I think him dropping deep and allowing these guys to get in behind, his playmaking, he is an incredible player. Obviously, I do understand the fee that we would have to pay for him, the age, the injury doubts, but Harry Kane, man, is just, and why isn't there a world where we go and get Harry Kane? And this might lead into selling Anthony Martial, I don't know, but why isn't there a world where we go and get Harry Kane and we go and get Sesko as well? I'm not sure, obviously, on the fee of what Sesko would need to be brought in, but we need obviously someone that's young, and we need a proven goal scorer. And not only a goal scorer, I think Anthony Martial, as much as he's not scoring at the minute, I do think, especially that game against Everton, he was one of the best players on the pitch. And a lot of people aren't going to agree with me on that. But Stephen says here, wouldn't want Kane anywhere near us at his age now. See, and again, like I'm not gonna necessarily argue against that. I do understand the age factor, but he is a player that, whether you get him on 3 or 4 years, that's he's going to get you 20 goals a season, and that comes at that's a given, isn't it? Because as much as Osimhen and Sesko are younger, Harry Kane's done it in the Premier League for I don't even know how many years. But a lot of people saying that we need someone new. Understandable, completely understandable. But Sesko scored 10 goals in 29 matches, so nearly a goal kind of every other game. Osimhen has only played 16 matches but scored 11 goals, which is very, very good. The XG comparison, Kane's XG obviously, outweighs all of the other two considerably, obviously, because he scored more goals. Kane has scored 8 headed goals as well. Sesko 0, Osimhen 2. Kane has had a significant amount of shots as well, almost double them, both of them. Sesko on 68 and Osimhen on 55. But shots per 90, Sesko and Osimhen actually do beat Harry Kane. Osimhen nearly averaging 4 shots per 90, Sesko averaging just over 3, and Harry Kane averaging 2.76. So, the more shots you're going to have, no, not necessarily the more shots you're going to have, the more goals you're going to score. That is stupid. But Harry Kane-wise has got 4 assists. Sesko and Osimhen have 2 each. I think, look, it's a very, very difficult debate to have, in all honesty. I think they all have pros and cons. I think, and Grand says here, no Kane, please. Osimhen is the chosen one. And look, me kind of throwing Kane out there first doesn't mean I'm against kind of Osimhen or Sesko. I do think that Osimhen would be a very good signing for Manchester United. I just think, obviously, I see Kane in the Premier League. I see highlights. I see him play pretty much every single game or some part of it. So it's quite easy, or it's a bit easier for me to sit here and say that I'd prefer him at Manchester, or not necessarily. It's not about preferring. I'm just more leaning towards the signing of Harry Kane, and I think because also my dad is a Spurs fan. There's something so sweet about Manchester United taking Tottenham's best player that they arguably have ever had. Can you stretch it that far? Away from them, and hopefully he would break the Premier League goal scoring record at Manchester United. That you can't tell me that's not attractive, right? Owen says, Kane's started to carry more injuries now. Would rather have a player who has a clean record with injuries. Again, it's completely understandable, yes, but Kane is 30. He's finished. Kane is not finished, man. Come on now. Let's not be silly. Kane is not finished. He scores goals. He has scored a ridiculous amount of goals this season, right? He's had the best start, as I said. It's just because Haaland's doing robot things that we're overlooking it. Come on, let's not get silly. But Charlie loves Kane. He's always on about him. I do love Kane. I do. But I just think you'd be. And again, as I say, I do understand that the fee and the age and what other people want in terms of Osimhen. He's a lot younger, he's quick, he's flashy, he's going to score goals as well. But this is what I mean. Why can't you? You probably can't go out there and get Kane and Osimhen. Let's be honest, that would be ridiculous, like playing Football Manager or something. But there is a world in which you go out there, you get Kane, and you do get someone else, a Sesko, just off the top of my head, a younger name that can develop under, whether Martial stays or not, but under Kane, and look to lead the line for Manchester United for years to come. But no, look, I can see a lot of you guys aren't agreeing with me. I've never rated Kane at all. He's not great. No. I don't know. I can't sit here and have this argument with people. I think it's unarguable that Kane is a brilliant football player. I think that's inexcusable. I think so. But enough. Before it all turns sour. I understand. We'll move on to the player that Manchester United are looking likely to sign, and that is Weghorst. Now you guys can spam the chat with your thoughts on what you make of this signing, in all honesty. But this was actually a tweet from yesterday from the United Stand, and it reads, the United Stand understands Weghorst to MUFC is a deal that looks likely to happen. The discussion at the moment is over whether to buy rather than a loan, as it could work out cheaper to sign him on a permanent deal. Now, Weghorst. Guys, I mean, there was a scout report which you guys can go and check out, which went out this morning. Me and Beth had a little look at some of his stats and what he could possibly bring to Manchester United. I don't think it's going to be as bad, anywhere near as bad as what people think. He does definitely offer something completely different to what Martial does. It takes some pressure off Martial, goal scoring wise, minutes wise. You know, if he does get injured, Weghorst is there to step in. And I think it almost is, not in terms of Weghorst himself, but that profile of player, someone that is probably willing to, you know, it's a huge step up for him, and he is willing to be that backup to Martial. So it keeps Martial happy as well. Martial knows that he's probably going to be that starter should he keep up his form. Weghorst probably has got to do something ridiculously special to take that main starting number 9 spot away from him. But I mean, Snap saying there, Weghorst could be a dark horse signing. I mean, there's a lot of memes and a lot of Twitter banter going around about Weghorst, isn't there? But, you know, let's be real, it's the situation we're in. We find ourselves in a pretty tricky situation. You know, you've got Arsenal linked to Mudryk or whatever his name is. You've got Chelsea signing Felix. They've just signed 2 strikers as well. Yes, they're unknown, but they're young, up and coming. And we're sat here linked to Weghorst. But, you know, what can you do about it, in all honesty? Not much. And this is why it's so frustrating, because we're on such a positive trajectory, and we're going to suffer so much more. But another tweet here, which is interesting, and again alludes to something I was saying earlier, but it is from James Ducker, saying, if the purse strings were not so tight, MUFC would not go anywhere near Weghorst. I think that is pretty obvious, right? I do think that is pretty obvious that if we didn't have any money, then we wouldn't touch him with a 6-foot barge pole, of course. I mean, he could still touch us because, I mean, he is over 6 foot with the so the barge pole would have to be extended to probably about 8 foot. Then he couldn't, you know, we couldn't be touching. But I think that, yeah, it's pretty clear that he wouldn't be coming, or there wouldn't even be, you know, but 9 times out of 10 the names, you know, we've been linked to Giroud. We wouldn't be linked to Giroud if we didn't have any money. Like, we'd be linked to a lot of other players. Frostbite says, would Haji Wright be a possible deal? United crunch numbers, Haji estimated 10 young and promising striker from Turkish league as Weghorst. Can't say I've actually heard of him, I'll be honest. I have to do my research on him, in all honesty. Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, Weghorst, look, it's pretty clear that we wouldn't be interested in him. And for me, as much as, yes, we're in a dark place, we're trying to make the best out of a bad situation, pretty much. I think it's pretty clear that United have no money. We've touched on it so many times, and but it looks pretty clear that we're going to get him. And Fabrizio kind of sums that up with a tweet literally minutes before we actually went live. Fabrizio tweeted, Manchester United have scheduled new round of talks for Weghorst deal. Besiktas insist they have to agree on compensation as they're looking for a replacement. All parties confident as clubs' positions are closer, but still waiting to get done. Now, this is interesting because there was actually a club statement, if I can find, from Besiktas, who actually said that, well, they had to release a statement because basically just loads of false narratives and false news was coming out about the deal that they have with Weghorst. But they basically said, they claim that there is an exit clause in our football player's contract stating that his contract can be terminated with a compensation of 2.5 million euros in case of an offer from the Premier League is facetious, so they're saying it's false. However, the news that the player in question will leave the team on Tuesday is completely untrue. So, I mean, this did come out, I think it was, yeah, this was yesterday, the statement. So, I mean, look, a lot can happen and a lot can change within 24 hours, of course. I think that this signing will happen, in all honesty. I just hope there's no strings attached. I hope that it is for this 6-month period, and I hope that it can be successful for both parties in terms of Weghorst and Manchester United. And then when it comes to it, we part ways and we go out there, we get an Osimhen, we get a Vlahovic, we get a Kane, we get a Sesko. There's many, many names. Even if Tony, you know, there's so many number 9s that we've been linked with over the past 8 months. So we need to go out there and get a player 100%. It's again non-negotiable. In all honesty, I think that Manchester United are a club that desperately need a number 9. I think that Martial can be a success at Manchester United. I just don't think I think in terms of what he brings to the team, in terms of link-up play, he is a very good jigsaw piece and a cog that works as in the system overall. But we do desperately need a goal scorer. Frostbite again. Should Isco be United's target, being a free agent, in your opinion? No, I'm going to say. I'm just going to look at Isco's age again. Look, 30 years old, and I imagine. Look, I mean, I'd imagine he'd want pretty big wages. So no, I mean Isco's one for 5-6 years ago probably. If you wanted to go and get him then. Still, people in the chat saying no, Kane, no, but no. I think before we kind of round on off this video with a little, we're going to do a little Charlton preview actually. But I mean, in my honest opinion, the board, I mean, most of them are clueless. Let's be honest. We know that. A lot of you guys know that. You can see, they're on. It's honestly a bit weird and odd the ways and methods that they think. But yeah, Manchester United need to go out and get a striker. The Weghorst deal looks like it will be completed. And if it is going to be completed, let's be honest, we want it to be done sooner rather than later because we need the numbers. We've got a very, very congested fixture schedule as it is. They've just put the Palace game in between the City and Arsenal game, I think. And I think we've got Leeds as well to be rescheduled at some point. We've got Europa League coming up. It's huge. But we'll move on to a little bit of a preview for the Charlton game, which is tonight. I will be at the game. So if any of you guys obviously do see me there, then please do come over and say hello. I will be, I think I will be with Adam, where we usually hang out. But yeah, what do we think tonight? Possible rotated team. I think it's a good opportunity. I mean, we've got to keep the winning streak alive. It's again a non-negotiable. We need to win this game. 8 wins on the bounce. I believe there's no extra time. I believe it does go straight to penalties. So we obviously don't want that. And I do think it will be a rotated team, but I don't think it will be wholesale changes in that aspect. I do think that it will be, I mean, Jack Butland might start in goal. I think the goalkeeper situation is a little bit irrelevant in terms of who starts. I do think that Butland is more than capable of, in a game of this magnitude, I guess. And then, the back four, you're looking at, I'd say Dalot will play probably at least 60 minutes. And then, you got the Magaluf and then probably Malacia as well. I mean, maybe Martinez might get some game time. I'm not sure, him and Maguire. And then you're looking at McFred, maybe Ericsson. I think Bruno's suspended for this game. And then the front three might be the one with the most changes. I'm not sure if he's going to start Martial. I'm not sure how much he will play. But then you've got probably Elanga and Garnacho will start as well. But we should have more than enough to deal with Charlton, in all honesty. And that is no disrespect to Charlton. Look, they knocked out Brighton on penalties. But we should be looking at, a comfortable win. And I'm looking forward to it, in honesty. I'm looking forward to it very much. But we can end on some score predictions, guys. Do get your score predictions in the chat, what you think the score will be. I'm personally, and this is what I've put in the group chat for our little league table that we have got going on. Yes, I know I am bottom. Yes, I'm going for 4-0 Manchester United. Now, I wouldn't usually do that, but we did score 3 against Everton, and I do think that, again, it does very much depend on the lineup. I do think that a lot of you guys, 3-4-0, I think it will be pretty comfortable. I think, again, it does come down to performance more than anything. If we do win, you can sometimes win 3 or 4-0 and not really necessarily deserve to win, or it's quite a flattering scoreline. When we beat Bournemouth, that wasn't really a 3-0 game, was it? Look, they had very good opportunities to score, and we were lucky to keep a clean sheet, in all honesty. So, but 3-0, 2-0, 5, 9-0, says Justin. I mean, wow, that would be some... I'll take that, of course. 9 goals at Old Trafford would be brilliant. Hoping to keep a clean sheet, obviously. That's the main thing. 6-0. A lot of 6-0s coming in, actually. But yeah, I mean, I'm going with a 4-0. I think that's pretty achievable. I think anything, I mean, a win is non-negotiable, but 4-0 will be brilliant. But before we or I exit the show, it's been a brilliant one. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, guys. I appreciate everyone for making me feel welcome again. Do love a good 10 a.m. show, but I do just want to say that if you haven't already, please do go and check out 2 videos that we have uploaded recently. This morning, me and Beth, as I mentioned earlier on, did put out a Weghorst scout report. As I said, it is looking likely that we are going to sign him. So it's just a little bit of deep dive into his stats, a little bit of information about what he could possibly bring to United, that different type of striker. And also, yesterday, we were lucky enough to actually get an interview with Diogo Dalot. So, yeah, that is up on the channel, so please do go over there, give it a like. Please do subscribe if you aren't already subscribed to the United Stand. Appreciate all the super chats, the love and support. Yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, as I say. Please do leave a like. Let's try and get the likes up to 1,000 as we are ending this live stream. But yes, much love, guys, and we'll see you in the next one very, very soon. Bye-bye.